All right. Hey, everyone. Today I'm Debbie Sadie-Fi, and I am here with Deborah Blosnich. And today we have a very special guest. We have Rosa Spizzirri joining us today. She is an EMF grad, and she's going to talk to us about her EMF experience. Rosa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Debbie and Deborah, thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting this for others to learn about what it means to be an EMF grad. This is awesome.
All right. Well, thank you. We're just really enjoying learning about everybody's journeys and how they got here, right? So we are all set to go. We're excited to hear about your journey and how you got here. So I guess the first question is, what inspired you to join the EMF, which is the Elite Mentorship Forum in the first place?
Well, the Elite Mentorship Forum is a space for personal growth. So I guess what inspired me was the fact that I needed some kind of personal shift or change or something in my personal life. But what happened was a whole world opened up. So what inspired me was being in a place actually where I didn't want to be and then trying to get to a place where I needed to be or was desiring to be. I needed something different. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm career person. I'm a mom. I was taking care of elderly parents. I have I'm married. I have 3 children. So needless to say, I was, juggling a lot of balls and spinning a lot of plates at the same time. And so it was just a matter of time before, without some kind of mastery, that something was going to drop. One of those balls was going to drop. And I think this is typical for a female. We're providers, we're nurturers, being in the role of motherhood and having a job and a marriage and taking care of my mom. I'm down here, right? I'm at the bottom of the needs list. So I think what happened was burnout, overwhelm. And so I came across a stream from Peter Sage, and I was just not feeling good about life and where it was going. And I brought up something that said, a new future is always available. And what is it that's keeping you from that new future? And are you sabotaging? Are you self-sabotaging? And I thought to myself, I'm not in control of this situation. I am not in control of what's happening here right now. And it was bringing me down. And so basically I was inspired by a little lift of hope that I saw in this quick little ad from Peter Sage. It piqued my interest. So it got me started.
And I have to say that I'm sure that there are a lot of women that can identify with your story, because I am one of those women too, that, as a matter of fact, I think I've heard you're not even on the list, let alone the bottom of the list. You don't even make the list. And I think that's very true of a lot of women. And that's something that needs to change for sure. And Deb, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the reason for getting there. Yes, just like, hey, something has to change. This is not working. And so, I think a lot of us do find ourselves there. And so, what about Peter's message resonated with you, that really kind of drew you in? Like, why this program and not a different program? Or if you had tried other things, why did this one resonate with you more?
Well, I think for me, when I was in this space where I'm at the bottom of the totem pole here, That's where I was in my present moment. But what was happening deeper within me was, something's not working in my life. And how did I get here? I started to look back on situations from my past. And basically, I grew up in a dysfunctional home. There was a lot of scarcity. And it got me to a point where I was not comfortable in my own skin, not trusting myself, and always looking to be validated in other people because I grew up insecure. Then, in my busy lifestyle, one of the things I loved doing was making time for myself because I had to, knowing that I was at the bottom of the totem pole. But even in that moment, giving of myself was, I'm going to go run for the gutsy walk and collect and raise money for people with colitis, right? Like that was me doing something for myself. I'm leaving the house, right? I'm getting out of here. I'm not working and I'm not with the kids. I get to go, right? This is what I was doing for myself, was giving back for a cause. Yes. And what happened was I was leaving the house really quickly. And of course, my daughter calls me over and she's like, where are you going? And I was really upset over just like, I have to go. I turned around and I said, I'm going to China. Leave me alone. And I stepped into my friend's car and it was a minivan, and not realizing I bumped the top of the minivan and I hit it so forcefully. Long story short, I did the gutsy walk. I ended up in a severe concussion, hospitalized, medication, like just out the crazy, whatever. But it put me also now, the life I thought I was complaining about just got worse. I no longer could provide for my family. I was no longer even at the bottom of the totem pole. I wasn't even in the story anymore. Like I couldn't provide at all. And so, of course, they give you medication and then there's side effects, and they give you medication to treat the side effects. It was just a whirlwind. So I ended up feeling really down. And so when you ask me about, what is it about Peter's program? I'd actually never seen a personal growth program before. The only program I had was Sunday at church, right? Like this was the personal growth that I was having, was just in prayer. And I have to say, doing the EMF program with Peter Sage and starting the personal development growth, I did go into a bit of a rabbit hole, because what he does is introduces you to a whole world, a new way of looking at things. But, he has also learned from other masters, and he's brought those masters to the table. And now I was looking into this personal development person, and I was reading this book, and I was listening to this program, and he makes all these recommendations, and they do support the EMF program. So I was just like enveloped in this amazing new future that was available. So I think, having not had any experience in personal growth, seeing the Peter Sage program and the EMF toolbox, I actually got closer to the spiritual side in my prayer and my community at church, because I saw the gospel in a new light. I got to hear Jesus's words in the form of personal growth. And it's amazing how closely they tie together, right? Even Peter quotes Jesus. He says, walk amongst them, but do not be affected by them. It's a mastery. It's a psychological drama. It's a learn these tools so that you can live fully.
Right. Oh, I love that. That's a beautiful one. I'm amazed that you hadn't heard of personal development before, and boy, did you get lucky. And I love, though, that you point out, because a lot of other programs might be like, and this is the only way, like I'm the only one that knows this stuff. And Peter is always, always, always saying, like, I worked with this person, I work with that person, to explore more. Go check out this, go check out that. Like, he's, even though it kind of envelops so much, there's still deeper places to go and explore then. And he invites us to do that. And the other thing that I really love about what you said, though, is that it didn't take away from your spirituality, like, at all. And it actually kind of did the opposite. It just made you, like, I know some people don't like to question their religion, or they're taught not to question their religion. And I've always just kind of felt like, well, if you can't question it, then, like, that's a little sketchy, right? So we should question it. And this just brought you closer. So I love that, that you had that experience. And that's just really
Yeah.
beautiful. So,
Yeah. It's actually got me closer spiritually to my own self.
right,
And
right.
so, and Peter says, like, he always says, don't put me on a pedestal, like you're going to dim your own light by putting other people on a pedestal. And so that's how I viewed my spirituality after that. It wasn't really religion, but it was, how am I going to connect spiritually? And so, yeah, it really, this personal growth development is exactly that. It was very personal.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
It definitely is. And I guess, was there a specific moment where you felt that the EMF was having a profound impact on your life? And if you can remember what that moment was, maybe you could describe it.
The impact immediately, now that I've gone through so much change, to go back right to the start to try and remember in that moment what happened is a little hard, because I've had so much development. I've had so much insight and wisdom up to now that I feel like pointing out that time might be jaded by the wisdom I have now. So if I were to really look back, I'd say immediately the impact was that I felt calmer. I felt hope. I felt energized. I felt more engaged in all the relationships around me, with my family, with my job, with traffic. Like, it was like just everything changed, right? Right? Everything changed. Like, leaving, like, just my dirty counter, like, it's just, things had immediate emotional lift from the onerous life that I had previously. So what I would say had the biggest impact was that I worked on gratitude. I found the gratitude for the life that I was leading.
I love that.
And then there was a module where not just gratitude, but now I get to forgive all things and forgive all beings. So I now had peace, but not all the time, because life happens. But what I did have was this anchor where I could go to and say, practice your gratitude, forgive all things, forgive all beings. Because life is hard sometimes. It will sideblind you.
I love that. That would make a great quote, Rosa.
Life will sideblind you?
No, the whole thing. Right?
Yeah.
Practice.
Feel free to call me.
What did you say? Practice gratitude. Forgive all beings.
Forgive
I
all
love
things.
that.
Gorgeous.
Forgive all beings. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's a great mantra or saying or whatever. Be a Facebook quote for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And so you mentioned how, like, your perspective changed and your experience changed, but what other ways has EMF changed, like, your career and your relationships, maybe, or your health? Like, how has it impacted that for you?
So I would say it started with, well, I was there to grow, and I was there to take personal responsibility for my life. That's the first thing that happens, is that we view our outer world as the problem. And when I began the personal growth journey, I realized that I was viewing that outer world from an inner world that was needing adjustment, perspective change, and with that feeling of gratitude that I was practicing, and the non-judgment, and the forgiveness piece, I was able to just, it's like I put on these glasses and everything looks so rosy. And even though it wasn't, I realized, okay, this inner world of mine is the one that is going to guide all the areas of my life. So yes, how did it affect my career? My relationship to my career was, I love my job, but it doesn't define me. And I'm actually not feeling really fulfilled in this job. How is it that I can best get the most out of this job? Because I have to be in it. I need to feed my family. There's a lot of things tied to the job that make it harder to leave. That's the game, and that's the way it's rigged, right? It's kept to keep you tied so that you push down your passions for certainty, and seeking the certainty keeps your personal growth kind of, I'll do it when I get to when. And so this new shift was, how can I be in this job and add value and get fulfillment? Because I'm an elementary school teacher. I came to the job with that passion, with that willingness to grow and give. And it was a calling. It wasn't a job, but then it turned into a job, right? So that's what the system kind of did. It turned it into a job. I got overwhelmed and I was like, oh, I'm going to burn out. So I found that career-wise, having done EMF, I just have a better relationship to my job. But it wasn't it was my first calling. But then, you grow and you're like, what else do I want out of life? And I knew growing up in scarcity and uncertainty that I needed financial freedom. So I watched people around me and I was like, how do they do it? How do they get rich? What do I need to do? Right? And so it started with understanding habits. What do rich people do? And then I was like, okay, I'm chasing the dollar. I'm not going to chase the dollar because you keep chasing more dollars, right?
Yes.
What I'm looking for is, how do I live fully, but with the means to live fully? So I looked at entrepreneurship, which is something I knew that when I looked at the people who were living fully, they were in business, right? I mean, other than having some money handed down to you, you just happened to be born in this family or this family. I was not. So I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I really felt in me, even when I started teaching, I want to own my own school. I want to be the boss. I want to run it the way I feel passionate about this. And the school, it never came my way. Like, there were opportunities, but I missed them because I wasn't listening. I was looking for certainty. And so I decided that I knew there was a lot of wealth in real estate. So I began to look into real estate, and starting the EMF, I was learning to listen. Remember how I wasn't listening to the signs before? Early on in the career, I remember I was supposed to go to teachers college and get a job with the system. Or I could do this thing called Montessori, and then I could open my own school, but nobody really knew about it. And I chose the safe route, right? Lo and behold, life doesn't go like this. It goes like this. I ended up learning a Montessori program, and I bring it into the program I'm in now, but I don't own my own school. And what I learned was, I want to be an entrepreneur, and I'm going to listen. So during module 3 on wealth and abundance, I get, just like Peter popped up on a Facebook thing, I get this pop-up from Tracy Tracy Teskey at Design Your Reality. And I'm like, oh, we just did a module on ruling your reality and I can create my outer world. This is a message. I'm going to start listening. So I took her program. It was phenomenal. She guided me through, the keys to my first real estate investment property. And it was incredible. So now I'm like, okay, we're learning about identity and we're learning about embodying the identity. I became an entrepreneur. I became an entrepreneur that does real estate. But it's not the real estate I'm doing. I'm an entrepreneur, right? Then I decided I've always wanted to tutor. I wanted the one-to-one. So I'm like, I've just started this business. I'm going to go on this website and do a business card and pop up, start another business. I called my friend. I'm like, could you do a website for me? He's like, yep. Can you do can I get an address? Yep. All right. I got a .com, kindergartenmastery.com. It's mine.
Nice.
I've now got another business, right? So career-wise, I'm expanding this entrepreneur mindset because I don't want to ever again feel that I don't have an avenue to express my passion, but also to have the freedom to do that.
Right. I love that. Like, wow.
Yeah, I changed my relationship to money, but I also changed my relationship to my identity.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm also a fellow teacher. I am still teaching, but also exploring some of these avenues. So I love to hear about that. And not just one, but like multiple places for you. So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. But then, basically, that was career, but the relationships I was having with my husband, the relationship I was having with my husband, not relationships, and my family was like, I wanted more hugs from my kids. And I wanted my husband to clean the counter and take off all the pop cans and stop drinking pop, and I was just like, how am I going to do this? And we learned these tools in the EMF, right? About ruling your reality, visualizing a life that you want. And then this thing called magic, right? Like it's real. And all of a sudden, it's like there's, maybe 1 or 2 pop cans, not 5. And my kids are coming to hug me. And, they don't do prayers with me anymore at night, but they'll hug me. And I'm like, oh, is this really happening? Did I make this happen? And then I'm hit with, you know what, honey, I think I'm going to give up pop altogether. It's not real. I'm like, whoa, this is going too far, universe, right? This is going too far now. So things started happening in the relationships and spending more quality time and fun, making things fun, just, meals and excursions and planning family time together. It just wasn't the onerous view I had of it before as I did now. And then when it came to my personal life, I lost 20 pounds, started getting disciplined, getting up early in the morning, making my smoothies, meditating. I'm like, all of a sudden I've got time. But what I did was I shifted not time, but my energy towards everything. I let it go. I was like, this is not that it's not important, but I was placing too much importance on everything. It had to be a certain way. So I did. I got stuck. I got sick of being sick and tired. And then I got a concussion as a result. And then I met Peter Sage. The rest
The universe was knocking on your door in a very loud way.
I'd say so. So it doesn't just, it starts here and then it just goes like that. It's a ripple effect. I mean, we want to compartmentalize it like career, relationships, money, but it's here. It starts here.
Excellent.
And you're right. It does start there. And Rosa, you've just been answering all the questions without even knowing what the questions are. It's like, I got to say, I think that you've already talked a little bit about your insights and breakthroughs that you've had from the program, and also how EMF has set you up for long-term success and transformation. But I want to ask you, is there anything else that you would like to share about your breakthroughs and how you're set up for your long-term success and that overall transformation and keeping it going, right? It's
Yeah.
Peter will always say that you can have shelf help where you do something and then it sits on a shelf and you don't really make any change. So maybe he'll let you comment on that.
I would say that, along with the gratitude and living a life of non-judgment and compassion for the people that, on this earth, but also in my circle, in my life, and that I encounter and that I attract, I would say one of the biggest breakthroughs was that I realized I was on autopilot, and how I was doing anything was how I was doing everything. And so if I wanted a better, different life, I was spending time expecting things to change, but I wasn't changing how I was doing things. And so really focusing on my awareness of, well, why am I doing this? Asking the question, like, why am I doing this? And when things are not going as smoothly as I'd like them to be, I kind of check in, right? So I'm interrupting these patterns that I used to have of like quick go-tos, like I'm late or I'm tired, like just giving myself excuses for why I am not achieving the things I'm achieving or that I want to achieve, my desires, my dreams. But why do I need to wait for them to happen? I don't need to wait 10 years. It may happen in 10 years, but I don't need to wait to act on them. So going forward, it's like my life has changed because now how I do anything, I'm doing it with intention, so that everything I do is now with intention. And I spend time in a space where I can be clear about my intention. So I have a morning routine, I have a night routine. And when I go and I put my head on the pillow at night, like I'll ask myself, like, what do I think and feel about my day today? And how do I want to envision it tomorrow? And then when I look in the mirror, well, most times I never had time to look in the mirror. Like I never brushed my hair and put makeup on, right? But now when I look in the mirror, I'm like, it's a reflection. What do I see? And do I like what I see? And what do I want to see? And then I go forward with intention. Intention is huge. It keeps me from getting lost throughout my day. It keeps the steering wheel kind of not going off the road. And that's the biggest takeaway for me, is that now I wake up and I choose to live by design.
Excellent. That is so fabulous. I love it. And sometimes you hit that pothole in the road,
Yep.
but you get back on track then, or you're okay with it, or you figure out what it's about. So
Exactly.
beautiful, beautiful. And our final question, which I can't wait to hear your response to this, because it sounds like your transformation has been absolutely just amazing. Um, if you have the opportunity to talk to somebody who was thinking about doing EMF or looking for a personal development program, what would you tell them about this program?
You don't know what you don't know. That's what I would say, is you don't know what you don't know. So if there is something, well, first of all, if you're listening to this and you've come across the program, there is something here for you that now all of a sudden you didn't know existed. And now you do. So I would say explore it, because it's a little nudge. And a lot of us spend time unaware of how we live our lives. And there's so many bits and pieces of gold, like just it's a toolbox for life. And you might not even know that life is, okay, or comfortable. It To me, the EMF program, if you come across this, what I would say to you is explore a life by design. Choose positive over negative. Choose love over fear. And this is the space where, life happens and you are basically who you hang with. So if you're hanging out with people who are negative and you're listening to the news all the time, you may be in a comfortable job, but there's this programming around you with the people you surround yourself with that you might not realize you're being negative, and it could have negative effects on your body, right? It does. The negativity and the stress has a biofeedback, and it can show up later in any way. So I would say explore the questions you have right now about your life, if it's the life you chose. If not, EMF has come across your space, your ears, your eyes, or through a person. Take a deeper look and ask yourself if you are living the life that you choose, or is it being chosen for you?
Excellent question, right? And I think for a lot of us, that answer is going to be very telling. And then obviously we would invite people to then take the next step, right? And like you said, just explore, like be open to a conversation. And I know Debbie and I are both open to conversations. If that's all your next step is, just like, let's see where you're at and what you're doing. So I do thank you so much, Rosa. Your story is so inspirational. I hope it has sparked some interest in some of our viewers. I feel like your story is one that, like you said, many of us can relate to. You're living your life for everyone else, serving everyone else. You kind of forget about your own needs until you wake up to the fact that, like, hey, wait a second, I need to focus on myself a little bit here. And then when you do that and you have some guidance,
and a peer group.
And a peer group. Yes, yes. EMF has the most fabulous peer group, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
You need to be reminded every day. If there's something not in your awareness every day, or something that pops up that is keeping you lifted, it's very easy. It's gravitational.
Right, right. So just surround yourself with people who are also striving for a different experience, a different level of experience in life, right? Not just the same day over and over and over again. And then, like you're saying, I guess we would call it like a growth centric, right? Like it continue growing yourself and exploring more about yourself and this life that we're living, and what else can you contribute, what else can you experience, right? And
Yeah.
it fills you. I mean, like for me, I know I feel more alive. I feel like everybody that we've talked to is just enjoying their earthly experience more than they were before.
Yeah, and I just don't want to fight it, I want to go effortlessly. I want to be able to do the things I do and not worry that it's not going to work out. One of the other beautiful takeaways is that I always feel like this is a friendly place we live in. I can look at it like it's not a friendly place and then more of that's going to show up. But this is a game. Let's enjoy it. It's life.
I love that. Well, thank you. So, for those of you out there who are interested in learning a little bit more about the Elite Mentorship Forum, or if you do just want to have a conversation, whether it's about changing your mindset, getting rid of your limiting beliefs, or seeing what might be possible for you, obviously, Debbie and I, we invite you to reach out to us to have a conversation. And we also would like to offer you tonight an opportunity to go to, it's called ultimateselfmastery.com, where you can watch a kind of an introductory webinar that will give you some tools to start making these changes we're talking about. And then we would invite you to continue the conversation with us afterwards if you would like to. So again, though, Rosa, super nice. We had not met before, so I am super grateful to have you here and sharing your experience with us. Always, always beautiful to talk to a fellow, I call them EMFers. So
Yeah. And we're also fellow trainers, right?
yes, and
That's
fellow
the,
trainers.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
fantastic. Well, you know what? I just, it's a family. I'm really grateful and I'm really appreciative of what you are doing together and for your listeners and for having me here today. So love you.
Love
Love
you
you.
too.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.